It's Monday, May 19. In the headlines, Senate gives nod to the Income Tax Relief Large-Scale Projects and Pioneer Industries Act. Regionally, in Guyana, local authorities exploring a new initiative to tackle addiction. And in sports, Cricket West Indies pushes for Olympic inclusion. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. The Income Tax Relief Large-Scale Projects and Pioneer Industries Act, which will grant tax incentives to investors who are seeking to invest at least $1 billion in development projects in Jamaica, was given the nod in the Senate on Friday. The passage of this legislation paves the way for the long-delayed Harmony Cove tourism project in Trelawney and other massive developments to get off the ground. Senator and Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Auburn Hill, led the discussions about the legislation.
Mr. President, this Honourable Senate is reminded that the Income Tax Relief Large-Scale Projects and Pioneer Industries Act, which was enacted in December 2013, took effect on January 1, 2014, and coincided with the repeal of a number of legacy incentive legislation that granted sector-specific tax incentives. Mr. President, the Income Tax Large-Scale Projects and Pioneering Industries Act accordingly signified a new paradigm, still in the treatment of fiscal incentives. The preference was for a more fiscally responsible approach to tax expenditure and the use of targeted tax credits rather than blanket tax holidays that we have been used to in the past.
Senator Hill says the legislation will not support what he terms sweetheart deals. Instead, its regulations support a rules-based approach to proposed investments.
Mr. President, the proposed amendments to the Act, as well as the proposed regulations, will therefore serve to reinforce the accountability requirements in the Act by introducing a rules-based approach. And I want to stress that, a rules-based approach. You don't have to know the Prime Minister, you don't have to know the Finance Minister. The rules are there, they're on the website of the Ministry of Finance. I will make sure it's on my ministry's website everywhere, so nobody don't have to be say, you have to go know somebody to get a blight. We're not in the blight business, we're in the investment business, Mr. President. And so when you're bringing a $1 billion investment, it will be properly reviewed.
For its part, the Harmony Cove tourism project will consist of a 25-story hotel with 1,000 rooms and 32,000 square feet of full-service casino space. It will also include group and meeting rooms, an 18-hole championship golf course, a music entertainment facility, beach and marine activities, as well as beachfront and pool activities. Most Jamaica Public Service customers in parishes without customer service offices, CSOs, want the offices to be reopened. The information came out as part of the results of an impact assessment study commissioned by the Office of Utilities Regulation, the OUR. The OUR, in a press release, explained that the gap in services was caused by the closure of 10 of 15 customer service offices across the island between February 2020 and March 2021. Consequently, the Office of Utilities Regulation has asked the Jamaica Public Service Company Limited to develop a plan of action to address the gap in customer access to their services. The OUR is asking the JPS to consider opening convenient hubs in high-traffic areas and or at post office locations, making the My JPS mobile app zero-rated to offset any increased cost to customers to access JPS services through this channel, and negotiating with bill payment agencies to install courtesy phones at these locations. More than 650 farmers and agriculture stakeholders are now better equipped to grow, protect, and export Jamaican Scotch bonnet peppers, thanks to a multi-million-dollar international project, the Hot Pepper Value Chain Project, backed by the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, is wrapping up after 3 years. National Project Manager Vanessa Oates says the focus of the Hot Pepper Value Chain Project is to boost Jamaica's capacity to produce fresh Scotch bonnet peppers, which continue to attract high demand on the international market for their unique and robust flavor.
We've trained over 650 stakeholders on various activities. So for the phytosanitary, which is the first component, there was a training that was done on how to monitor and to treat with pests and diseases so that you decrease your losses and increase your output. There was a training of 247 stakeholders, so the seed producers, nursery operators, farmers, exporters, agro-processors, extension, workers and regulators were trained on this. And this training also targeted the youth. So we would have partnered with CASE and executed a training of over 50 students. These would be the new entrants into the agriculture sector, so we thought it was necessary to include them.
She also notes that stakeholders received training on how to develop and maintain areas of low pest prevalence, a key strategy in protecting hot pepper crops and improving yield.
There was also the training on the quarantine pest, how to identify and how to respond to a new pest of pepper, where 68 technical officers were trained. We also saw training in how to develop and maintain the area of low pest prevalence. 30 stakeholders. We're looking at the technical officers within the ministry, particularly the Plant Health Coordinating Committee, as well as the managers of the agri-parks, and some farmers were included and guided on how to maintain this area. We also had a major highlight of the project was a plant breeding training that was done, where we trained 32 officers with how they can go about to increase the seed quality and plant breeding.
Ms. Oates revealed that stakeholders also received training in agri-food systems aimed at improving farm management and boosting overall productivity.
And the agri-food systems, we also completed a number of trainings. So we trained nursery operator and farmer leaders, as well as extension workers, on how to properly manage their pre and post harvest so that you are reducing the losses and increasing your output. We also trained them in climate resilience and agrometeorology, so focusing on the weather and changes in how do you change or adjust and plan for your planting so that you're able to increase your output.
Valued at more than $1 million and implemented in 2022, the project aimed to enhance competitiveness, sustainability, and international market access for Jamaican hot peppers. Delano Seavright and Christian Tavares Finson have officially withdrawn their applications for the Jamaica Labour Party's candidacy for North Central St. Andrew. The party's secretariat announced that this decision was communicated to the JLP's Central Executive during a meeting on Sunday. The party stated that their withdrawal will allow for a reset in the candidate selection process, following a thorough review by the party. Carl Samuda, the current Member of Parliament for North Central St. Andrew, will continue to serve as a chairman of the constituency throughout the candidate selection process. The new social housing program is about more than providing shelter. It's about giving families a fresh start, restoring dignity, and creating real opportunities for a better life. Those words from Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness rang true last Thursday as he handed over a house to Miss Denise Cheeto and her family.
This program is normally MP driven, meaning that it is normally the Member of Parliament who would make the recommendation for the benefit. But because she wrote directly to my office and her situation was investigated and verified as being in need, I gave a direction that a new social housing program should respond to her situation.
Ms. Cheeto is a Jamaican living with a disability. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Arlene Williams, says the provision of a house to this family is just the beginning. She says work is being done to ensure sustained support for Ms. Cheeto and her family.
We are offering that support to her. We have also looked at how we can collaborate with other ministries to ensure that the educational needs of the persons living with her are met. How we can look at even a pension, a social pension for her. So it's really a comprehensive program that caters to the needs of persons.
Ms. Cheeto says she's grateful to be relocated from a flood-prone area and urged similar assistance for her former neighbors. Acknowledging the decision to make the move, Dr. Holness explained that assessing the land and the possibility of the impact of natural disasters have become part of the process of the new social housing program.
Not every available piece of land is suitable for housing. And that if we're going to build houses in Jamaica, we have to be very careful in the locations that we select. And as a result of this administration being very careful, we do not build on lands that are at risk of weather events, climate change events, or other forms of disaster.
Time now for the business report with Denise Williams.
Welcome to today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, here to bring you the stories shaping the financial world and guiding your journey to smarter business decisions. Let's dive into the top headlines. Chief Executive Officer of the Grace Kennedy Group, Frank James, says he is seriously concerned about the potential negative effect of the proposed 5% tax on remittances flows being pursued by U.S. House Republicans and President Donald Trump. James tells RJR News that while he cannot influence U.S. fiscal and foreign policies, however, he will be taking steps to continue lowering the cost as well as making it easier for Jamaicans and Caribbean nationals living in the U.S. to send money back to Jamaica and the Caribbean via the company's GK1 app service. This service will be expanded to Cayman, Trinidad and Tobago, and Guyana this year. Companies listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange have sent notices to shareholders that cash will be deposited to their bank accounts in the form of dividends. Honeybun 1982 Limited has declared a dividend of 0.03 cents per share payable on June 12, 2025 to shareholders on record as at May 29, 2025. Grace Kennedy Limited has declared an interim dividend of 52 cents per stock unit payable on June 20, 2025 to stockholders on record as at May 30, 2025. Epley Caribbean Property Fund Limited, SCCPFV, DIGI, has declared an interim dividend of 0.005 Barbados cents per share payable on June 16, 2025 to shareholders on record as at May 30, 2025. Epley Limited has declared an interim dividend of 0.102 cents per share payable on June 30, 2025 to shareholders on record as at May 30, 2025. For the trading period ending May 15, 2025, these were the most actively traded stocks. Toll road operator Trans-Jamaica Highway Limited with 5,759,914 units traded, representing 21.30% of market sales volume. Entertainment and games provider Supreme Ventures Limited with 5,628,924 units traded, representing 20.81% of market sales volume. Financial conglomerate MFS Capital Partners Limited with 5,141,586 units traded, representing 19.01% of market sales volume. We now shift our focus to the Forex market rates set by the Bank of Jamaica. On May 17, 2025, the Bank of Jamaica reported US $82.04 million purchased and US $78.58 million sold by Forex traders. Forex traders earned $1.04 per dollar, selling the US at $159.16 and buying the US at $158.12. The Canadian dollar netted Forex traders $6.16 per transaction, with selling at $115.21 and buying at $109.05. The British pound yielded Forex traders $3.65 in profits, with selling at $211.69 and buying at $208.04. For our credit report tip of the day, most people think good credit score is only about getting approved, but that's just the tip of the surface. When you improve your credit score, you're not just raising a number, you're expanding your access to cash, capital, and control. It becomes easier to say yes to opportunities that can grow your income, build your business, and strengthen your legacy. If you're serious about shifting from surviving to thriving, improving your credit score is one of the fastest ways to create more cash-generating options. And that wraps up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, reminding you that every financial decision is a step toward your future. Until next time, stay focused, stay informed, and keep striving for success. See you soon.
In regional news, the Ministry of Tertiary Education and Skills Training is hoping to deepen ties between academia and industry to produce more job-ready graduates and drive innovation across Trinidad and Tobago. That's according to Line Minister, Professor Prakash Prasad, who spoke to Mahalia Joseph Wharton on Saturday.
At the 2025 Professional Development and Registration of Engineers in Trinidad and Tobago at the University of the West Indies St. Augustine campus on Saturday, Minister of Tertiary Education and Skills Training Professor Prakash Prasad spoke to TTT News about government's approach to encourage practical engineering education and applied research to fuel sustainable development. Following his speech, questions on the accreditation and practical certification were raised by those present. Minister Prasad noted that a model similar to medical internships could strengthen the professional readiness of local engineers.
In developed countries, when you graduate as an engineer, you need to work in industry, and there's a sort of internship period. You see how doctors go through internship and they certify you and then you can practice? Engineers is done in developed countries. Here we don't do it. So that we need to do, the people need to be convinced that you have practical experience when you go to work. You're not going to cause unnecessary damage. So that I intend to work with the professional associations, right, and the industry to see if we can get some sort of reciprocal recognition in that regard.
He emphasized the value of industry-embedded learning for engineering students at both the University of the West Indies and the University of Trinidad and Tobago.
What we do, if the students who graduate understand what industry is, work in industry problems, when they go there, they're more qualified, industry will spend less time training them and they become more productive right away.
He explained that student final year projects are already being done in collaboration with local companies, helping align academic output with national needs. The ministry is also supporting innovation that creates employment, like a UTT Career partnership, turning waste tires into usable materials for roadworks and manufacturing.
So it creates jobs, it creates products, and that we can export also. But more importantly, we can set up such small sort of enterprises right through the country. So you don't have to bring a tire from Rio Claro to the system in San Fernando to shred it. We can have it in all the counties, constituencies, etc.
Meanwhile, his ministry is addressing duplication across institutions and establishing clear pathways for student progression from craft to degree level.
Then the other thing is we want to have articulation. So people go from the craft to technician to degree. We want to have that a smooth articulation going that way. And then the third thing is, which will form from the science and technology policy, that the universities need to be creators of jobs, applied research. We need to not, become ivory tower, open the doors of the university to everybody.
Minister Prasad said collaboration between government, institutions and the public is key.
Education is very close to the Prime Minister's heart. And she wants to make sure we take the country forward together, everybody together.
Minister Prasad also met with the principal of the University of the West Indies St. Augustine campus, Professor Rosemary Bell Antwine, to discuss matters relating to the university. Mahalia Joseph Wharton, TTT News.
As the collaboration between Government of Guyana and Northwell Health, a United States non-profit healthcare service provider, deepens, new healthcare initiatives to improve psychiatry services in the country are being explored.
Dr. Eric Pina, the Vice President of the Center for Global Health, Northwell Health, recently said the team working in Guyana is exploring mental health programs that can be developed here. A team from Northwell visited in April when a cardiology program was launched with the support of the George Subraj Family Foundation. Through that engagement, discussions on further support were advanced.
We actually brought down the first addiction psychiatrist to the country. He now works at Northwell. We recently hired him, and he's talking about creating a subspecialty fellowship in addiction medicine for the graduates of a psychiatry program, so we could have addiction specialists that are Guyanese.
He said based on data, it is notable that trauma, cardiovascular disease, and non-communicable diseases are a major health risk. More so, the after effects of trauma have led to the life-altering situations such as mental health and substance abuse. A massive concern the initiative is likely to address is the healthcare response to substance abuse, such as alcohol. To do this, the doctors will form a team of neurologists and psychiatrists, among other specialists.
We tie it, because you're right that there is a little stigma around those diseases, right? So we tie it to brain health, and we tie it to the stroke care that we want to do. And we say this is just human brain health. So we don't want you to have strokes, we don't want you to be depressed or anxious, and we don't want you to use substances to the point where you're impaired.
Following a program developed by the World Health Organization, WHO, Northwell Health intends to use community-level influence and training to tackle addiction, which leads to several health risk factors. Reporting for the newsroom, Lazini Yearwood.
In sports, we open with cricket. A new chapter in West Indies Test cricket begins as Roston Chase has been appointed captain for the upcoming home season against Australia, with left-arm spinner Jamel Warrican stepping into the role of vice-captain. The leadership duo was confirmed on May 16th, following unanimous approval from the Cricket West Indies Board of Directors.
The appointments of Roston Chase and Jamel Warrican came on the heels of a modernized and rigorous selection process designed to identify the most suitable candidates for the roles. Moving away from traditional decision-making methods, CWI implemented a comprehensive evaluation system incorporating leadership profiling, tactical acumen, and team dynamics. A panel comprising head coach Darren Sammy, Director of Cricket Miles Bascom, and Strategy Committee Chairman Enoch Lewis led the multi-phase selection process. Candidates underwent psychometric testing, structured interviews, and a performance-based scoring system that weighed qualities such as influence within the squad, cricketing intelligence, communication, and professionalism. Among those considered were John Campbell, Tevin Imlach, Joshua De Silva, Justin Graves, Chase, and Warrican. Shea Hope, the West Indies white ball skipper, chose not to be part of the process, opting instead to concentrate on his current duties in the ODI and T20 formats. President of CWI, Dr. Kishore Shallow, praised the process as a landmark moment in West Indies cricket leadership, saying, "This selection process is one of the most comprehensive and forward-thinking we have undertaken. I am deeply impressed by the professionalism, objectivity, and strategic thinking that shaped the final decision. It sets a new benchmark for leadership appointments in West Indies cricket." Coach Sami also gave his full backing to Chase, noting, "Our new captain has earned the respect of his peers, understands the responsibility that comes with the role, and has shown the leadership qualities we need to take this team forward. I urge fans across the region to rally behind him. We're building something special." Chase's first assignment as captain will be the highly anticipated home test series against Australia, starting June 25th at Kensington Oval in Barbados. The leadership reshuffle is seen as part of a broader vision to foster stability, elevate performance, and re-establish the West Indies as a formidable force in the longest format. CWI thanked all the shortlisted players for their engagement and professionalism and hinted that this method may become the new standard across all formats when selecting future captains.
Cricket West Indies has made a formal appeal to the International Cricket Council, urging that the Caribbean's distinctive cricketing structure be recognized in upcoming talks with the International Olympic Committee on the qualification process for cricket's return to the Olympic Games in Los Angeles in 2028. Nasira Mohammed reports.
The move comes amid growing concerns that the current Olympic eligibility rules would block West Indies teams, comprised of players from multiple sovereign Caribbean nations, from participating in the Games. In its proposal to the ICC, CWI presented two mechanisms aimed at ensuring Caribbean representation while aligning with Olympic principles. The first suggests that if the West Indies qualifies based on ICC rankings, an internal playoff among Olympic-eligible Caribbean nations would decide which one represents the region. The second recommends integrating West Indies-affiliated countries into a broader global qualification format that includes ICC associate members from each development region. CWI President Dr. Kishore Shallow emphasized the need for fairness and alignment with the Olympic Charter, saying, "The Caribbean has made outsized contributions to the Olympic movement, and our young cricketers deserve a chance to chase that same dream. The Olympic ideals are rooted in equity and access, and it's vital that the structure of our cricket doesn't become a barrier to participation." The proposal cites the Olympic Charter's requirement that qualification systems be both transparent and inclusive, ensuring athletes from all regions have a legitimate shot at competing. CWI reaffirmed its commitment to working closely with the ICC to help shape an inclusive qualification system that honors the value of the Olympic movement while acknowledging the regional structure of West Indies cricket. The organization says it stands ready to collaborate with all stakeholders to ensure that Caribbean athletes are given a fair opportunity to compete on sport's grandest global stage.
And that's it for the news on PBCJ. Remember, we are the People's Station.